The Puppy Planet Invasion of Earth. Chapter 1. The Planet That Got No Respect. Ballinia 6 was a jewel of a world, small enough to be overlooked on most star charts, yet vibrant with rolling meadows, crystalline lakes, and skies so blue they looked painted. It should have been a paradise. It should have been admired. Instead, it was mocked. The reason was simple and cruel. The Ballinians looked like dogs, not wolves, not mythic beasts, not fearsome predators, just dogs. Adorable, floppy-eared, tail-wagging, tongue-lolling dogs. When the galaxy first encountered them, the reaction was immediate. "Puppies," cried the reptilian delegates of Zarnax Prime, clutching their scaly cheeks in delight. "Man's best friend," cooed the avian ambassadors of Kurtalk, tossing squeaky toys into diplomatic chambers. And so the nickname stuck. Puppy Planet. It was meant affectionately, but affection was the problem. Affection did not translate into respect. Affection did not earn a seat at the negotiating table. Affection did not secure trade routes or defense pacts. Whenever galactic treaties were signed, the Ballinians were ignored. Whenever accords were negotiated, they were dismissed. What could puppies possibly contribute? Sneered the Zarnaxians. Fetch? The Ballinians tried to protest. They sent delegates to the Galactic Council, wearing stern expressions and polished collars. They spoke eloquently of their technological advances, their mastery of warp drives, their contributions to interstellar medicine. But the council members only leaned down, scratched behind their ears, and asked, "Who's a good boy?" The humiliation was unbearable. In the streets of Ballinia's capital, Canopolis, citizens grumbled. "We are engineers, not mascots," barked one. "We invented quantum walk tunnels," yipped another. Even the puppies, actual children, were tired of being patted on the head by smug aliens. The tipping point came during the signing of the Treaty of Seven Suns. Every major civilization was invited. Every major civilization signed. Ballinia 6 was not even given a pen. Chancellor Publius, leader of the High Kennel, stormed out of the chamber, ears drooping but eyes blazing. "Enough," he growled. "We will no longer be ignored. We will no longer be belly-rubbed into submission. We will show the galaxy that Puppy Planet bites back." And so, in the quiet meadows of Ballinia 6, among the daisies and the frisbee-shaped monuments, the seeds of invasion were planted. The galaxy had laughed at them for the last time. Chapter 2. The High Kennel Convenes. The High Kennel was the ruling council of Ballinia 6, and it met in a building shaped suspiciously like a giant doghouse. Its roof was red, its walls white, and its entrance was a triangular archway that looked like it had been designed by a child with crayons. Inside, however, the atmosphere was anything but playful. Chancellor Publius, a stout bulldog with jowls that trembled when he spoke, slammed his paw on the polished bone-shaped table. "We are disregarded," he barked, his voice echoing through the chamber. General Terriarius, wiry and intense, paced back and forth, claws clicking against the floor. "We are mocked," he yipped, tail twitching like a metronome. Duchess Labradora, elegant and golden-furred, raised her head with regal indignation. "We are patted on head when we demand respect," she howled, her voice carrying the sorrow of generations of ignored treaties. The chamber erupted in growls, yips, and the occasional howl. Even the stenographer, a nervous beagle, scribbled furiously while muttering, "This will not look dignified in the minutes." Publius raised a paw for silence. "Enough. We must act. The galaxy will not take us seriously until we force them to." Terriarius stopped pacing. "An invasion," he said, eyes gleaming. "We take Earth. We shake them. We show the galaxy that Puppy Planet bites back." The council gasped. Invasion was a word reserved for serious species, species with mandibles, tusks, or at least scales. Puppies did not invade. Puppies begged. Puppies fetched. Puppies rolled over. But Labradora leaned forward, her voice low and dangerous. If we invade Earth, the galaxy will take notice. They will see that we are not toys. They will see that we are warriors. The Beagle stenographer raised a timid paw. Excuse me, but won't Earth just, you know, tell us to lay down? The council fell silent. It was a fair point. Pullius growled. That is why we must disguise ourselves. We will not appear as puppies. We will appear as monsters, sinister avatars that strike fear into humans and aliens alike. Terriarius wagged his tail despite himself. Yes, avatars, mandibles, glowing eyes, voices like thunder. Labradora's eyes sparkled. We will be terrifying. The Beagle stenographer sighed. I'll need a bigger notebook. And so, in the great doghouse of Canopolis, the High Kennel made its decision. Ballinia 6 would invade Earth. Not with wagging tails, but with avatars of doom. The galaxy would tremble, or at least that was the plan. Chapter 3. The Avatar Gambit. The High Kennel's plan was bold, but boldness alone would not save them. If Earth saw a fleet of floppy-eared invaders, the humans would respond with belly rubs, squeaky toys, and perhaps a few adoption papers. The Ballinians needed menace. They needed terror. They needed avatars. In the subterranean labs of Canopolis, engineers worked feverishly. Holographic projectors hummed, voice modulators crackled, and design teams sketched nightmare after nightmare. Mandibles, insisted General Terriarius, pointing at a blueprint. Big ones, the kind that looked like they could snap a battleship in half. Glowing eyes, added Duchess Labradora, her tail wagging despite her attempt at seriousness. Preferably red. Red is always terrifying. Chancellor Publius leaned over the table, drool dripping onto the schematics. And voices. Voices that rumble like thunder. No more yips, no more barks. We must sound like doom itself. The engineers nodded, though one muttered under his breath, They'll still tilt their heads when confused. The first prototype was unveiled with great ceremony. A towering insectoid figure appeared in the chamber, its exoskeleton gleaming, its eyes burning like twin suns. Its voice boomed, Earth, submit or be destroyed. The council applauded. It was perfect. Then the avatar tilted its head. Then it wagged its tail. Then it barked. The engineers scrambled to fix the glitch. Sorry, the tail-wagging subroutine is hardwired. It's cultural. Terriarius growled. No tails, no wagging. We are conquerors, not companions. But the problem persisted. Every time the avatars tried to look menacing, some instinct betrayed them. A growl turned into a snort. A glare softened into puppy eyes. A threatening gesture morphed into a rollover. The council was horrified. We must practice, declared Labradora. Operation Serious Face begins now. And so, in the great halls of Canopolis, Ballinian leaders rehearsed their snarls. They practiced scowls. They drilled menacing glares. Terriarius sneezed adorably. Publius snorted mid-growl. Labradora's eyes sparkled like a Disney princess. The Beagle stenographer sighed. This invasion is going to be a disaster. But the High Kennel refused to give up. They would perfect their avatars. They would terrify Earth. They would strike fear into the galaxy. Or at least they would try. Chapter 4. Launch Day. The meadows of Ballinia 6 trembled as the fleet prepared for liftoff. From orbit, the ships looked like toy spaceships scattered across a child's playroom, sleek cruisers shaped like darts, nimble fighters resembling frisbees, and one colossal dreadnought that looked suspiciously like a squeaky rubber bone. Inside the High Kennel's command chamber, Chancellor Publius adjusted his ceremonial collar. "Today," he growled, "we shed the name Puppy Planet. Today we become canine conquerors." General Terrierius barked orders into the comms. "Squadrons Alpha through Fetch, prepare for launch. Chew Toy Division, engage engines. Frisbee Wing, stop chasing your own shadows." The fleet roared to life. Engines growled like thunder. Paws pressed against control panels, and tails wagged uncontrollably, despite strict orders to maintain serious face. As the ships lifted off, the citizens of Canopolis gathered in the streets, watching their beloved fleet ascend. Puppies waved flags, elders howled in pride, vendors sold commemorative chew sticks labeled Invasion Edition. Meanwhile, on Earth, astronomers at the Mount Palomar Observatory noticed something unusual. "Strange," muttered Dr. Elaine Foster, peering through her telescope. "I'm picking up a fleet of ships approaching from the Canis sector." Her assistant squinted at the readout. "They look adorable." "Adorable? Yes, that one looks like a bone. And that one looks like a frisbee. And, wait, is that a squeaky duck?" Dr. Foster frowned. "This is either the most whimsical invasion in history, or the galaxy's strangest parade." Back on Ballinia 6, the avatars activated. Across the fleet, holographic projectors flickered to life, transforming wagging tails into jagged mandibles, floppy ears into spiked helmets, and cheerful barks into voices of doom. "Earth!" boomed the dreadnought's transmission. "Submit or be destroyed!" The humans trembled, governments scrambled, news anchors screamed. But in the control room of the dreadnought, the Ballinian pilot tilted his head at the radar screen. The Avatar followed suit. On Earth, millions of viewers gasped. Did the terrifying alien just do the puppy head tilt?" asked one bewildered general. The invasion had begun, and already the disguise was cracking. Chapter 5. First Contact. The Ballinian fleet hung in orbit, their avatars shimmering with menace. On Earth, every screen flickered to life. Televisions, smartphones, billboards, even the Jumbotron in Times Square. Humanity was about to meet its conquerors. The transmission began with a thunderous voice. "Earth, submit or be destroyed." The Avatar was perfect, or nearly perfect. A towering insectoid figure with jagged mandibles, glowing red eyes, and a posture that screamed Galactic doom. Its voice rumbled like an earthquake. For a moment, silence. Humanity trembled. Governments scrambled. News anchors clutched their microphones. Then a small child in Des Moines tilted her head. "Mommy," she whispered, "why does the scary alien keep tilting its head like a puppy?" The Avatar froze. Indeed, the insectoid menace had tilted its head at the camera, just as Ballinians did when confused. The effect was less terrifying conqueror and more golden retriever hearing a squeaky toy. In Washington, the president's advisors panicked. "Sir, they're demanding submission," shouted one. "But look at that tilt," said another, smiling despite himself. "It's adorable." The Pentagon debated furiously. Some argued for military readiness. Others suggested belly rubs. One general proposed launching drones loaded with doggy treats as a peace offering. Meanwhile, the Ballinians struggled to maintain their disguise. Inside the dreadnought, Chancellor Publius barked at the engineers. "Hold the Avatar steady. No wagging, no tilting, no rolling over." But the instincts were too strong. General Terrierius sneezed, and the Avatar's mandibles twitched like floppy ears. Duchess Labradora growled, but it came out as a whimper. The humans noticed. "Are they barking?" asked a BBC anchor, blinking at the broadcast. "More like yipping," replied her co-host. "Honestly, I think they want treats." Across the globe, reactions varied. In Tokyo, school children giggled and tried to mimic the aliens' head tilt. In Paris, philosophers debated whether the invaders were truly terrifying or simply misunderstood. In New York, dog owners gathered in Central Park, convinced the aliens were distant cousins of their pets. The Ballinians had wanted fear. Instead, they had sparked affection. Back on the dreadnought, Publius buried his face in his paws. "This is a disaster," he muttered. Terrarius wagged his tail despite himself. "Not yet. We can still scare them. We just need more mandibles." The Beagle stenographer sighed. "Or maybe just more belly rubs." And so the first contact between Earth and Puppy Planet ended not with terror, but with confusion, laughter, and the faint sound of squeaky toys being purchased in bulk. The invasion was underway, but Earth was already reaching for the treats. Chapter 6: The Belly Rub Crisis. The Ballinian avatars had been designed to terrify. Jagged mandibles, glowing eyes, voices like doom. Yet every time they spoke, something betrayed them. A wagging tail glitch, a head tilt, a sneeze that sounded suspiciously like a bark. On Earth, diplomats began to suspect the truth. At the United Nations, the Security Council gathered in emergency session. The broadcast of the insectoid overlords played on the big screen. The alien's voice thundered, "Earth, submit or be destroyed." Then it rolled over. The delegates gasped. The avatar's terrifying exoskeleton had glitched, revealing a belly, soft, furry, and begging for rubs. Ambassador Singh of India leaned forward. Did the alien just expose its stomach?" The French delegate shrugged. "It is a universal gesture. They want affection." The American representative frowned. "Or they want belly rubs." The chamber erupted in debate. Should Earth respond with weapons or with belly rubs? Meanwhile, in Washington, the Pentagon was in chaos. Generals argued furiously. "They're invaders," barked General McAllister. "We must prepare defenses." "But look at that rollover," countered Admiral Childs, pointing at the screen. "That's not aggression. That's submission. They want scratches behind the ears." The president's science advisor chimed in. "We've run simulations. If we offer belly rubs, the probability of peaceful resolution increases by 87%. General McAllister slammed his fist on the table. "This is madness. We cannot belly rub our way out of an invasion." But already junior staffers were practicing their technique on office dogs. Back on the Ballinian dreadnought, Chancellor Publius was mortified. "Hold the avatar steady. No more rolling over. No more belly exposure." General Terrarius whined. "It's instinct, Chancellor. When threatened, we roll. It's ancestral instinct." Duchess Labradora sighed. "We wanted fear. Instead, we've triggered affection." The Beagle stenographer muttered, "At least they're taking us seriously enough to rub our bellies." Across Earth, the crisis spread. In Tokyo, citizens lined up outside government buildings, offering belly rub volunteers. In Rio de Janeiro, samba dancers incorporated belly rub gestures into their routines. In Berlin, philosophers debated whether belly rubs constituted diplomacy or domination. The invasion was collapsing into a global cuddle fest. At the UN, the final decision was made. Ambassador Singh stood, solemn and resolute. "We will not fight them with weapons. We will fight them with affection. Operation Belly Rub begins now." The chamber erupted in applause. And so Earth prepared not for war, but for galactic belly rubs. The Ballinians had wanted respect. Instead, they were about to get the most thorough tummy scratches in galactic history. Chapter 7: Operation Serious Face. The High Kennel had reached a breaking point. Their avatars were terrifying in theory, but in practice they kept betraying them with wagging tails, head tilts, and spontaneous rollovers. Earth was on the verge of belly-rubbing its way through the invasion. Something had to change. Chancellor Publius slammed his paw on the bone-shaped council table. We must master menace. We must project dread. We must stop looking adorable. General Terriarius nodded grimly. Operation Serious Face begins now. In the great halls of Canopolis, Ballinian leaders gathered for drills. Engineers projected holographic mirrors so each Ballinian could practice their serious face. Terriarius bared his teeth, trying for a snarl. It came out as a sneeze. Labradora narrowed her eyes, attempting a glare. They sparkled like a Disney heroine. Publius growled low and menacing. His jowls wobbled, making him look like a bulldog in a wind tunnel. The Beagle stenographer dutifully recorded each attempt. Note: menace compromised by cuteness. Again. Citizens of Canopolis gathered outside the training hall, watching their leaders rehearse. Puppies giggled, elders shook their heads, vendors sold serious face masks shaped like exaggerated snarls. One pup whispered to another, "They look like they're constipated." Another replied, "No, they look like they're trying not to wag their tails." The crowd howled with laughter. When the avatars were tested again, the results were even more disastrous. The insectoid menace appeared on Earth's screens, mandibles gleaming, eyes glowing. For a moment it looked terrifying. Then the Ballinian pilot sneezed. The avatar's mandibles twitched like floppy ears. Then Labradora tilted her head. The avatar followed suit. Then Publius growled, but the sound modulator translated it as, "Who's a good boy?" Earth's diplomats burst into laughter. Back in the high kennel, chaos reigned. "This is hopeless," barked Terriarius. "We cannot suppress our instincts." "We must," growled Publius. "The galaxy will never respect us if we keep rolling over." Labradora sighed. "Perhaps respect is overrated. Perhaps belly rubs are inevitable." The Beagle stenographer closed his notebook. Operation Serious Face. Failure. Recommend Operation Treat Acceptance. Chapter 8. Earth Strikes Back. With treats. The Ballinian fleet loomed over Earth, their avatars flickering with menace. Humanity braced for annihilation. The Pentagon prepared countermeasures. The UN drafted emergency resolutions. The world held its breath. Then someone had an idea. Not missiles, not lasers, not nukes. Treats. In a top-secret meeting, Admiral Childs presented the plan. "We've analyzed their behavior. They roll over when challenged. They wag when nervous. They bark when excited. Conclusion: they're dogs." General McAllister scoffed. "Dogs with spaceships." "Exactly," Childs replied. "And dogs can be distracted. We don't need weapons. We need bacon." The room fell silent. Then the president leaned forward. "Launch the treats." Across the globe, factories shifted production. Missile silos were repurposed. Instead of warheads, they loaded drones with bacon-flavored biscuits, peanut butter bones, and squeaky toy-shaped snacks. At dawn, the first salvo was launched. Treats streaked into orbit, glowing like meteors. The Ballinian fleet braced for impact. But instead of explosions, the ships were showered with snacks. Ballinian pilots abandoned battle stations to chase biscuits. Squadrons defected to Earth's kitchens. The Dreadnought's crew fought over a peanut butter bone the size of a satellite. Chancellor Publius howled in despair. "Hold formation. Ignore the treats." But General Terriarius was already gnawing on a bacon strip. Duchess Labradora rolled over, paws in the air, waiting for someone to scratch her belly. The Beagle stenographer simply wrote, "Invasion compromised by snacks." On Earth, the countermeasure was hailed as genius. News anchors reported live from dog parks repurposed as diplomatic zones. Children tossed frisbees skyward, hoping to lure alien ships down. Pet stores were raided for supplies. In New York, crowds gathered in Times Square, chanting, "Treats not war, treats not war." In Paris, bakers invented croissant-shaped chew toys. In Tokyo, vending machines dispensed intergalactic biscuits. The invasion had become a cosmic picnic. Back on Ballinia 6, the High Kennel watched in horror. Their fleet, their pride, their carefully rehearsed menace, all undone by bacon. Puglius buried his face in his paws. "We wanted respect. We got snacks." Terriarius wagged his tail. "Snacks are respectable." Labradora sighed. "Perhaps belly rubs were inevitable, but snacks? Snacks are destiny." The Beagle stenographer closed his notebook. "History will call this the Great Snack Offensive, and frankly, I'm fine with that." Thus, Earth struck back not with weapons, but with treats, and the mighty invasion of Puppy Planet collapsed into a galactic dog park. Chapter 9. The Great Walk of Shame. The invasion had collapsed into chaos. Treats rained from orbit, belly rubs were administered at every negotiation, and the Ballinian fleet was more interested in chasing squeaky toys than conquering Earth. Humanity, sensing opportunity, devised a new strategy: leashes. Pentagon Lawn, 0900 hours. General McAllister stood at attention, gripping a bright red leash. At the other end, Chancellor Puglius shuffled awkwardly, his avatar flickering between insectoid menace and bulldog jowls. "Walkies," McAllister commanded. Puglius growled. "This is undignified." McAllister tugged gently. "Heel." Against his will, Puglius obeyed. His tail wagged despite his attempt at menace. The Pentagon staff erupted in applause. Nearby, Admiral Childs was walking General Terriarius around the reflecting pool. Terriarius tried to maintain dignity, but when a duck waddled past, he lunged. Childs held firm. "No chasing waterfowl during negotiations." Soon, the United Nations adopted the practice. Every Ballinian delegate was assigned a leash and a handler. Diplomatic sessions resembled dog parks more than war councils. In Geneva, Duchess Labradora was walked twice daily with scheduled belly rub breaks. In Brussels, Ballinian warlords were required to sit before speaking. In New York, the Security Council installed fire hydrants outside the chamber for morale. The galaxy watched in disbelief. The mighty invaders of Puppy Planet had become leash-bound mascots of Earth's diplomacy. Across Earth, citizens embraced the spectacle. In suburban Ohio, families volunteered to foster Ballinian officers. "They're great with kids," one mother reported, though they keep trying to pilot the minivan. In Paris, fashion houses designed couture leashes with rhinestones and velvet. In Tokyo, Ballinian generals were paraded through Shibuya Crossing, drawing crowds larger than any pop idol. The invasion had become entertainment. Back on Ballinia 6, the High Kennel watched broadcasts of their leaders being walked on leashes. Chancellor Puglius groaned. "We wanted respect. We got walkies." Terriarius wagged his tail. "Walkies are respectable." Labradora sighed. "Perhaps belly rubs were inevitable, but leashes are destiny." The Beagle stenographer closed his notebook. "History will call this the Great Walk, and frankly, I'm fine with that." Thus, Earth struck back not with weapons, not with treaties, but with leashes, and the mighty invasion of Puppy Planet became a cosmic dog park on a planetary scale. Chapter 10. The Vacuum Unleashed. The mad dogs had failed to terrify Earth with their foamy mouths and cappuccino froth, but they still had one weapon left: the vacuum cleaner of doom. Legend said it was forged in the deepest kennels of Ballinia 6, powered by the fear of every puppy who had ever fled under a couch. Its roar was said to shake mountains, its suction strong enough to pull socks from parallel dimensions. General Terriarius stood before the weapon, tail stiff with determination. With this, we reclaim our dignity. Earth will tremble, Chancellor Publius muttered, or at least shed a lot of fur. The vacuum cleaner of doom was wheeled into position aboard the dreadnought. Engineers flipped switches, pawed at controls, and inserted the sacred bag of infinite dust. With a deafening roar, the vacuum came to life. Its hose writhed like a serpent. Its suction howled like a banshee. Balinian warlords cowered, ears flat, eyes wide. "Turn it off," yelped Duchess Labradora, diving under the council table. "Never," barked Terriarius, foam flecking his muzzle. "This is our destiny." On Earth, the broadcast of the vacuum cleaner of doom was met with confusion. "That's just a Dyson," said one engineer in Houston. "We've got 3 at home." In London, a BBC anchor chuckled. "The invaders have unleashed a household appliance." In Tokyo, children laughed and chased the sound, convinced it was a new anime mascot. Social media exploded. Memes spread faster than the vacuum's suction. Alien invaders terrified by Hoover. Puppy Planet's ultimate weapon, the Roomba. The vacuum cleaner of doom backfired spectacularly. Instead of striking fear into Earth, it terrified the Ballinians themselves. Pilots abandoned their stations, fleeing under couches and behind curtains. The dreadnought's crew scattered, tails tucked, whimpering. Terriarius tried to stand firm, but the roar was too much. He bolted, dragging the sacred hose behind him. Publius sighed. So much for dignity. The Beagle stenographer scribbled furiously. Weapon deployed. Outcome: Ballinians terrified. Earth unimpressed. The rebellion collapsed. The vacuum cleaner of doom was dismantled, its parts sold to Earth hardware stores as alien technology. Humans used them to clean carpets. Ballinians returned to belly rub negotiations, humiliated but oddly relieved. Duchess Labradora emerged from under the table, shaking dust from her fur. "Perhaps respect will never come, but at least the carpets are clean." Publius nodded. "Clean carpets are respectable." And so the ultimate weapon of Puppy Planet was defeated not by Earth's armies, but by humanity's indifference to household appliances. Chapter 11. Galactic Laughingstock. Until the cats came. The Ballinians had become the galaxy's punchline. Their invasion had collapsed into belly rubs, treats, and walkies. The High Kennel despaired. Respect seemed forever out of reach. Then the cats arrived. From the distant world of Felinia Prime came a fleet of sleek, silent ships. They glided into orbit with predatory grace, their hulls shaped like scratching posts and laser pointers. Their avatars were flawless, cold, aloof, terrifyingly smug. "Earth," purred the Felinian commander, "submit or be ignored." The galaxy gasped. Cats were no joke. Cats were menace incarnate. The dogs rally. For the first time, Earth looked to the Ballinians not with amusement, but with desperation. "Help us," pleaded the president. "You're the only ones who can stop them." Chancellor Publius straightened his collar. General Terriarius bared his teeth. Duchess Labradora wagged her tail with renewed purpose. The Ballinians knew cats. They had chased them across meadows, barked at them from porches, and defended couches from their claws. This was their moment. The Battle of Orbit. The Felinian fleet descended, claws extended. But the Ballinians charged. Frisbee fighters darted like playful missiles. Bone cruisers rammed scratching post dreadnoughts. The squeaky duck dreadnought unleashed a barrage of chew toys. The cats hissed, the dogs barked. The galaxy watched in awe as Puppy Planet fought with ferocity no one had ever imagined. Terriarius foamed at the mouth, not from cappuccinos this time, but from sheer battle rage. Labradora rolled over mid-combat, confusing the Felinians long enough for a decisive strike. Pulius growled so deeply it rattled the enemy's whiskers. The cats fled. Earth erupted in celebration. The Ballinians had saved the planet, not with belly rubs, but with courage. The galaxy, once dismissive, now bowed in respect. Puppy Planet, declared the Galactic Council, is no longer a laughingstock. They are guardians. The Ballinians wagged their tails proudly. Epilogue. The tail wag heard round the galaxy. In the aftermath, Earth and Ballinia, six forged a new alliance. Cats were kept at bay, treaties were signed, and the High Kennel finally earned the respect they had craved. Chancellor Publius addressed the galaxy. We sought fear, we found affection, we sought respect, we found loyalty, and in the end, we found victory. General Terriarius added, and snacks, never forget the snacks. Duchess Labradora smiled. Perhaps belly rubs were inevitable, but now they are given in honor, not pity. The Beagle stenographer closed his notebook with satisfaction. Final entry, the invasion of Puppy Planet. Outcome, unexpected victory, cosmic respect, clean carpets. And so the galaxy learned a lesson. Never underestimate puppies, especially when cats are involved. The end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.